Hello, my name is Taya and I'm a training specialist at Tom Pitt. In today's video, I'm going to talk about inputs and outputs on a production order. The goal of this lesson is to learn what are inputs and outputs on a production order, how to manage inputs and outputs on production orders in the Tom Pitt system, and the importance of having the option to view and manage inputs and outputs on production orders. Inputs refer to the materials, components, or resources that are consumed during the production process, while outputs represent the finished goods or products that are produced. Keeping track of these inputs and outputs is essential for several reasons. By recording the exact inputs used in the production, you ensure that your inventory records are accurate. Managing inputs and outputs gives you the ability to trace production history of any item, which is essential for quality control. If a defect is discovered in a finished product, you can track back to the exact batch of materials where the issue originated, making it easier to resolve problems and improve processes. Sometimes changes occur during the production process, perhaps due to a design alteration, a last-minute material change, or a quality issue. Having the ability to manually adjust inputs and outputs in the production order allows you flexibility. For example, imagine working in a company that assembles wooden tables. The production order for each table includes inputs such as wood and screws. When production begins, these inputs are consumed to produce the table. Now suppose that during the assembly, the team realizes that there's an additional wood piece that must be added to the quality checks. These changes need to be manually recorded in the system as new inputs. In addition, if the final product has a byproduct like wood shavings, you can manually record them as outputs. Managing these inputs and outputs accurately ensures that the company maintains an up-to-date record of material usage. Now let's see how this works in Tom Pitt. You can view inputs and outputs on production orders in pending, active, and closed states. Additionally, you can manage them on orders in pending and active states. To manage inputs or outputs, navigate to the production domain, selecting the production orders icon. Here, select the production order in a pending or active state by selecting the filters on the left and clicking on the blue code. When a production order opens, scroll down to the Process tab and select Inputs. Here you will find the materials that will be used in the process. First, the type of the material is specified alongside the code and name of the material. And on the right, the quantity that will be used. By selecting the arrow left to the material code and name, operations in which the material will be used are displayed. By clicking on the blue operation name, you can edit the input. If needed, you can change the operation, type of the material, name of material, and quantity used. Click Cancel if you want to exit the editing window. Select Delete in case you want to erase the input, or select Save to confirm the changes. In case you want to manually add an input, click on the Add Input Material button on the top of the list. A similar editing window will appear, selecting the operation on which the material will be used and the type, name, and quantity of the material. And lastly, select the Add button. Now the same logic applies to outputs. In the row above, select the Outputs tab. A list of products alongside their code, name, and quantity is displayed. By clicking on the arrow left to the name, you can inspect on which operations the product was or will be produced. By clicking on the operation name, you can edit the output if needed. To manually add an output, select the Add Output Material button on the top of the list. Select the operation on which you want to add an output and the type, name and quantity of the material. And lastly, select the Add button. And with that, we conclude today's lesson on inputs and outputs on production orders. Let's summarize what you learned in this video. You now know what inputs and outputs are. You know how to view and manage inputs and outputs on production orders in the Tompit system. And you know the importance of having the option to view and manage inputs and outputs on production orders. I hope this video helped, and I will see you in the next lesson.